All right, welcome back for the episode of Carnivore Trades. Today is Thursday, July 27th, 2023. If you're not done so already, please give the video a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com for swing trading alerts and analysis. Anyways, let's get into it today. So, lot to unpack here. So, spiders were up about 65 basis points this morning on the open, and they finished down 66. NASDAQ down a quarter. Dow down 70 basis points, and the Russell finished down about 1.25% there on the day. Volatility getting a bid. What happened? Did the market just get overbought here? It's certainly possible. There's a lot to unpack. So right now the story is yields pushing up. This morning we got a pretty hot GDP number, and things kind of finally came to a head the way that this is the way I would describe it. We got the typical defiant market, right? So here's the GDP reaction, and the market just, it was very hot, right? It was very hot. The dollar started to surge, yields started to surge, and the market just said, screw you, we're just going to rally. And it did the same thing that it's been doing every press release or economic release for the last 2 months, where it doesn't matter, we just go higher, doesn't matter, just keep going higher. And we got a little bit of a fade, a little bit of a pullback. I did my my short video this morning. I said, we'll flip over to the spiders again. I said, we're kind of overextended, we probably need to do some backing and filling. We did that. We tested 457, got a bounce. Then around lunchtime, Bank of Japan came out and they said that they're kind of look to scale back some of the yield curve control they're doing, and we took a dump. So pretty good reversal on our hands. We hit the magic number 4,600, and like a 60 point, almost 60 point drop. Actually, yeah, from high to low, 60 point drop, almost 70. So 46.07 all the way down to 45.28, and then closing at 45.37. So we hit the magic number, and didn't quite get up to here, but pretty good reversal on our hands. The story is, yields this, yields that. I've been talking about yields for a long time. They're not going lower. It's just a matter of when the market's going to care. And maybe positioning just got so stretched, so extreme finally, that the market is carrying. Take a look at the ES. Maybe this was the level where the bag holders had to be. So we've been blowing through levels, right? We blew through this one. We blew through this one. The Qs have been blowing through levels. Maybe this was the one where it finally said, okay, there's enough bags up here that bought, and they turned into sellers. There's the ES there. Nice little double top, attempt there, and a pretty good rejection. So markets here, what is the key right now? Let's flip back over to the SPX. That's where we have our trend line. So let's take a look here. Trend line going back to May 24th and coinciding with the 20 moving average. It's probably not a coincidence. If that breaks tomorrow, this area breaks tomorrow on a close, now you've done a little bit of chart damage. Now you can go down and possibly test this trend line here, which coincides with the 50 moving average. So those are levels to watch. We're also coming into end of month too. So again, looking at the weekly, we close down here and break that trend line tomorrow, close at 4,500, we'll say. You're going to engulf the body of last week with a pretty nasty candle. So that's something to watch, right into that, supply zone. Something to watch moving forward. But bears have to follow through tomorrow. It's not enough that we had an engulfing. We did wipe out 6 days of trading. We did do that, but it's not enough. You have to follow through. And again, after hours, I'm doing this video at 4:26. We have 91 million shares. With after hours, we'll probably finish over 100 million, but I need to see 100 million during market hours. So it's a nice reversal here, but you could make a case the market was just way overbought, right? I mean, look at where we were, all the way up at 459.44, 12 points away from the 20 moving average. That's pretty far. So at any rate, we needed to come back in. But the narrative is, oh, yields have been going up for years now, and at least this last several months they've been going up, and the market hasn't given a shit. But there you go. There's yields pushing up. Dollar index. What have we been talking about here? Very interesting. Outside move up. Let's just flip over to trading view because I hate this look that Thinkorswim won't fix. There's yields, dollar index. This looks a little trappy. We talked about the possibility of a trap here. Weekly, got to get above this red bar high. But, you know, boat got really loaded to one side. You know, it's pretty easy to say that at the very least. You look at the euro, pretty good reversal. You close below this green bar tomorrow, that's a failed breakout on the euro. That's not good. So right now, tomorrow, again, bears need to follow through. Bulls, you hold that 20 moving average, you can go higher. That's really all it comes down to. And you can probably squeeze up. So we'll be watching. That's something I'll be watching like a hawk tomorrow. And then Monday, obviously, last day of the month. My guess is, regardless of whether we sell or not, if we break this level, let's say we, whatever, we go down here, right? Let's say we fill the gap. I think we hold up until Apple and Amazon at the very least. We might even bounce there, but do we put in lower highs? That's something to watch moving forward, and that's something I'll be keeping an eye on. So very simple analysis right there. Triple Qs. Again, this is important. You take this out, 374.34, right? 374.34. That's daily chart lower high and daily chart lower low confirmed. By the way, take a look at this trend these trend lines here, kind of in this channel. We went up there and touched it, and maybe we need to come back. It does look really extended, so something to watch there moving forward as well. But Qs definitely sold off on volume yesterday. I talked about this. Qs are more likely to make lower highs than everything else. If anything else is going to rally, it's going to be from fins, healthcare, and energy. That's my take on it right now. Tomorrow, also very important. We break that 20. We broke the trend line on a close for the first time since it was, made. And this isn't the best, I could probably put it right there. But either way, we broke it. Tomorrow, bigger than that, more important than that. Do we close above 380 or below 380? Because we have not done that yet on the triple Qs. So that's another big level to watch there. If you break that 50 MA, you break that down to here, 100 MA with that trend line. Very easy levels here to watch on these charts. But interesting, finally getting some volatility in the mark here. By the way, speaking of volatility, look at the VIX. Did come off the lows here, but maybe a little of a fake out, right? We gapped down, we sold off to double bottom. I think we made a new low, 1273. Okay, so we didn't make a new low by 1 cent, but we went into double bottom, and first thing in the morning, got a bunch of people to sell vol most likely, and then boom, big move there. I think people are a little underinvested in vol. I mean, there's plenty of macro bear stuff out there, and we know that. And markets keep going up, obviously, but protection's cheap, right? So again, VIX has got that look. You could get back up to 16, 17. You put in another higher low, it could get interesting there. But volatility getting a bid, obviously. IWM wiped out 6 days worth of trading in 1 day, just like the spiders. It did finish a little bit off the lows like everything else, but we're watching this. Again, monthly. Could have lower highs there as well. Weekly, nothing terrible just yet. But again, weakness really across the board here in the markets. Dow also an engulfing reversal. The Dow is still stronger here, and again, blue chips, in volatility should lead, and that is what you expect to see there. If we pull back, we'll look at 348, and then kind of this 343, 345 area. Semiconductors did finish green. There was some I don't know what it was. There's legislative news this morning. They all kind of gapped up, but they did sell off. I think they finished about 2% off the highs, still up 1.8 on the day, and still holding up here. For a more confirmed top or a more sustainable top, you're going to need to see this break down one way or another, and that's the thing the bears got to do here. If we're going to have any sort of top, semi's got to break down. But right now they're holding up. Again, there's your 20 MA. There's your trend line. You do damage to that, then we can talk about some more downside. And there is a pretty fat air pocket here, to be honest, but right now it's holding up, and we'll respect it here. IGV, on the other hand, was on the weaker side. Good outside move down, held the 20 MA. If this breaks, I think it probably wants 340. So that's going to be your 50 moving average there. And again, that weekly pivot we talked about, Nice little tail candle last week, and, you know, kind of following through the downside this week. Nothing crazy just yet, but again, tomorrow's close will tell us a lot more. Dow Transport's backing off. We talked about 16.5, 16.6. Where's our trend line? Right there. Where do we go? Right there. So backing off there still looks okay, but if you start to, you know, you close below this green bar, and you lose the 20, you're probably back down to 15.6. So watch that there. I mean, that's a 1,000-point decline on DJT. It is very overbought and extended, but it's holding up. Nothing crazy, nothing major sell signal just yet. But again, that did come in like everything else. Okay, interest rates. 2-year up 4.92, slight higher high. Again, the Fed funds rate has got some wiggle room now. But if it starts to really take off, it won't matter. It's going to put a lot of pressure on the Fed. 5's above 4.23. 10-year we talked about back above 4. And 30-year above 4.04. This is poking a hole in the narrative of, rates have topped, bonds have bottomed, and inflation is defeated, right? I've talked about this ad nauseum lately with commodity prices. And I think that is something the market's going to have to look forward to towards the next CPI. I don't think it's going to be what people expect, or at least the market expect after the last one. But anyways, XHB here coming in off the highs, made a new nominal high. Let's see if we made we're not quite to all-time highs yet. 86.61. It did come back in, though, by the end of the day. Still holding up, still holding trend for now. ITB, same thing. No real problems. VNQ outside move down. Down 2.17%. We talked about this. Third hit of the trend line. A lot of the time can be a fake out. Maybe one right there. You better hold 84 tomorrow. And you better hold this green bar low, 83.24 too. Otherwise, it's going to be in a little bit of hot water. So we'll be watching that tomorrow. Still could be a laggard bull if the market, stabilizes. But definitely a pretty, look at this. What's this, like 2-3 weeks of action you wiped out in one day on volume. So VNQ definitely on the weaker side after that, after firming up recently, but it's got a chance to save it on the weekly tomorrow. XLF down as well, down 1 1/4. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days wiped out, sitting right on this trend line here. Didn't quite get to 36, but it did reject that 100-week moving average there. So XLF coming in as well. KRE also coming in. That can still go higher though. It just has some daily chart resistance at this level. Nothing really problematic just yet. KBE stalling at the 200, no surprise there. Broker dealers, good reversal there as well. That can go back to 500 and possibly even that 20 moving average. That's had a nice run though. It is very overbought though. Crude here got back above $80 for the first time since April. It did finish off the highs, but I don't see any issues here. This is likely, unless we get a major sell-off tomorrow, this is going to close above this trend line on a weekly basis, possibly the 50-week moving average as well. So crude looks fine here for a move to 82.72, 82.75. You close above that on a weekly basis, crude's going a lot higher. So just be aware of that. But right now, nice little update there. For Energy XLE, a little bit of a gap and crap. We gapped up a little bit this morning on kind of the, the crude being above 80, but then it did come in once we got more selling. Same thing with XOP. Told you 140, that was going to be resistance. It did back off there finally. OIH backing off, but not much, right? Down 1.48%, but, this is still trending up nicely. I want this to correct more because I want to buy it. But it did come in a little bit here today. So we'll continue to watch that. Net gas coming in as well here. A little bit of a downtick. It did come off the lows here. Really what I'm looking though at on nat gas is this weekly. I like this weekly setup. Nice inside bar pattern there. A lot of choppiness, a lot of sloppiness. And it's been a grind here, but you have those nice higher lows in that nice weekly pattern. This is definitely coiling up for a move. Just needs a catalyst to give it a little kick there. But it did back off a little bit here today. Dollar index we talked about. Nice pop closing above the 20. Again, watch 102.56 spot 4 tomorrow. If you close above that, dollar's going higher. Gold gapped up on a contract rollover and then faded all day long. That's typical, but dollar strong anyway, so that did push it down and it did close back below 2,000. We'll have to reevaluate this over the next week or so. Silver did sell off pretty sharply, down 2 3/4. Again, don't chase, right? So big 1-2 up move. We close below this green bar low today, holding the 20 MA. You lose 24. You know, this can go back down to the 200. And, you know, if you start to lose this area here, 23, 25, that's that zone, it's probably going down to 21. So just be aware of that. But nice outside move there on volume for silver futures. Platinum outside down. Keep coming down. Let's get that lower. I'm watching this like a hawk. Nice move on volume. Let that come in. I'll be buying that when the time is right. Palladium coming down as well. That one still has, that's setting up for one more move down here. Not interested in it yet, but I will be in the future. And then copper, a little bit of an outside move down today, down 1.4%. Nothing terrible though. Still not doing anything in the copper space yet, but nice little move down there today. Okay, all right, Bitcoin here. I'm a little disappointed in Bitcoin. So we had a nice pop. We're going to go to an hourly here. We had a nice pop above all these pivots, and then you got a lower high and you just couldn't hold it. So Bitcoin's a little bit on the weaker side here on the smaller time frames. You could be putting in a daily inside bar bear flag here on the 50 MA. That's not a good look. What is a good look though is the weekly is still perfectly fine. So this is still okay here. There's no problems. If you close the week, you know, you start closing the week below 28.5, you get a little concerned. Especially, you know, obviously a daily break of that area gets you a little bit concerned. And then really, I mean, if you take this out on a weekly close, then it's you know, toast for a little while. But right now, daily chart kind of bearish, weekly chart still bullish. I'm not doing anything with it right now. We just played the miners again. Took a small gain on Mara and Riot. Those both came in pretty sharply today. We took a small gain on those. But I just don't love the look here. It just could really kind of go either way. So for me, rather just book the profit. If the daily chart starts to play out, you know, you've got a long way down to go to get to this green bar low, right? So this could technically still be bullish all the way down here. But if it's not, and then it breaks, you know, you're way out of the money if you bought up here. So I'm just kind of neutral on it right now. We'll continue to watch that daily chart pattern and see if that develops anymore. Anyways, all right, lastly, here's the key to tomorrow. Simple. Trend line, 20 moving average. If you close above that, if you get a tail move down and then a daily tail candle above that, they can squeeze us back up. If we break that on a close, a weekly close, we're likely going to test lower prices. Tomorrow, for day trading purposes, I think bears, you probably want a small gap up. Bulls, you kind of want a gap down and then a flush immediately, and there you can get that by the dip. That's just kind of the way I would prefer it to happen from those perspectives. But right now, big levels, just watch that 20 moving average on a closing basis. It's really that simple. Anyways, guys, gonna wrap it up here. You guys take care. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com. Talk to you all tomorrow.